Hey everybody, welcome back to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and here on my YouTube channel, and welcome to another episode of Questions and Coffee with David. This is where I get up bright and early in the morning, and before I head off to work in the studio, I try to gather all the questions that come in on my Facebook page, on my YouTube channel, as well as email, and I answer them for you in video format. So if you want one of your questions answered in an upcoming episode, please send your questions to info@HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. That's info@HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, and I'll be sure to get your question featured in an upcoming episode. So if you want more tips, tricks, concepts, and training around all aspects of home recording, be sure to head out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. If you would like more in-depth mixing training, head over to learningtomix.com, which is a premium, high-quality training website for like-minded individuals who want to get better at the craft of mixing. That's learningtomix.com. And lastly, if you like what you see in this video, please hit that subscribe button below and also like and share. It helps me out tremendously. And now let's get on to this week's first question, question number 1. Okay, question number 1 comes in from Brent on YouTube, and he asks, "Hi David, for a few years I've been using plugins from Wave, Slate, Plugin Alliance, IK Multimedia, etc. Since watching your videos, I noticed that you use and compare a lot of amazing universal audio plugins that emulate gear that other companies can't do. I'm contemplating on when to jump on the UA train, but their plugins are expensive. Can you please share some news in the future video regarding what time of year is a great time to buy universal audio plugins on sale? Cheers, Brent." Well, thanks, Brent, for writing in. Yes, universal audio plugins tend to be fairly expensive, and that's one of the downsides to universal audio if you're on a budget. Now, on the other hand, I also say many times in my videos that I feel universal audio has the best plugins on the market, the best sounding plugins on the market. They are slightly ahead in my opinion than maybe even Slate and Wave, some of the Wave's counterparts. However, the Slate stuff and the Wave stuff sounds great as well. I'm a little more biased to universal audio only because I've been using them for so many years, and at this point I own every plugin that they have, but I understand your concern. The best time to try to buy the universal audio plugins is typically towards the end of the year, between Thanksgiving and Christmas time. That's usually when they put a lot of things on sale. And I also believe they put every so often a summer sale as well, where you can get plugins as much as 50 to 75% off. Now keep in mind, when you first get into universal audio and you buy either an interface or one of their satellite systems, they will come with the Classics bundle, which has the legacy versions of the 1176, the LA2A, the Pultec EQ, the Fairchild compressor as well, and there's some others that are in there. And again, you have to go out to the Universal Audio website and just check to make sure that they don't change those offers. But as of the recording of this video, you will get a set of plugins that'll work just fine, and then you can upgrade and add plugins to your collection a little bit later. So not only do I feel they're the best sounding plugins on the market, and you can get them on sale during the course of the year at a few different times, but keep in mind, the biggest advantage to the universal audio system outside of their great sounding plugins is that they don't tax your CPU, because all the plugins are running on the DSP chip inside of the hardware. That is really the main advantage to them. And again, they sound fantastic. So good luck with getting on the universal audio train. I highly recommend it if you have the budget, and if you think about it as an investment to your home studio over time, you will tend to realize that the cost to get involved is really not as much as it may seem up front. And if you have any other questions, please write in, let me know, and I'll try to help you as you start to get involved in universal audio. So I hope that answers your question, Brent. So now let's head on over to question number 2. Okay, question number 2 comes in from Alex. He wrote a comment on my YouTube page, and here's his question. "Hi David, fantastic channel, thank you. I was hoping to get advice as to where I might find an answer to a problem, hopefully small, that I have. I tried gear sluts to no avail. Here is my issue. I can record a MIDI drum track with all the MIDI notes on the same track. Then I can break out the MIDI onto separate tracks in Studio One 3 with each note on a different track. Here is where I'm finding issues. I would like to use a different instance of Slate Trigger 2 on each of these individual tracks to trigger sounds within the Trigger 2 plugin. But if I try to add Trigger 2 to, say, the kick note track, Studio One winds up applying the same trigger instance on all the individual MIDI notes. Is there a way to have these as separate instances, or am I making things more complicated than they need to be, and there is an easier way to accomplish the same end result, which is a separate Trigger 2 drum track for the MIDI notes so I can process control each? Phew, thank you thank you very much, and for any help that you might be able to offer. Okay, well, thanks, Alex. I appreciate the question, and I think I kind of understand, and I think you kind of answered your own question, which is you want to use a separate instance of Slate on each individual track. So if you're using a MIDI drums and you're putting MIDI notes on each individual track, I'm not sure why you might be doing that. I'm not sure what MIDI drum track you're using, and if you're using a stock plugin or if you're using something like Easy Drummer or something like that. However, what you want to try to do is you want to try to get your drum track so all your individual drum pieces are on separate tracks. So for example, you want your kick track on a separate track, your snare on a separate track, your toms on a separate track, and you want all the MIDI notes for that on the same track. So you don't want to have a kick MIDI track and have 10 kick MIDI tracks with 10 different MIDI notes. You don't want to do that. You want to have your kick on one track, and you want to have all the MIDI notes for the kick on that track. Then you can put an instance of Slate Trigger 2 on there, and you can sample and get your kick sound for that track. Does that make sense? I hope I'm understanding your question properly. If you're using like a VST like Superior Drummer or Easy Drummer or something like that, you can export you can multi-track out of that VST onto separate tracks as I just described. And as a matter of fact, I have a YouTube video on just how to do that with Easy Drummer 2. The Slate SSD4 and the Superior Drummer are going to be very similar processes, but the goal is to get the kick track on its own track, the snare track, the tom tracks, all the drums on their own tracks with all the MIDI notes on the same track, and then you can use a separate instance of Trigger 2 on each one of those elements of the drum kit, and that should work. So I hope that answers your question. If I misunderstood you, please write me in again and try to be a little bit more clear about what MIDI instrument are you using, and I can try to help you further. But that's the best I can do based on the question that I have in front of me, and if you have any other questions, you can certainly write me and I will help you. So thanks for writing in. So now let's get on to the last question for this episode, question number 3. Okay, question number 3 comes in from our Facebook page, and they write in, "Hi David, hope all is well with you. Do you think I can actually finish mixing a song using Studio One with the extensions and not the professional and get a great mix out of it? I have the Wave Gold bundle, which comes with a few plugins. I'm trying to get a more rounded canned sound. Any tips on what plugins I should finalize the song with? I actually watch most of your videos, but still not reaching the peak that I'd like. Thanks." Okay, so you have Studio One. It sounds like you have Studio One Artist and not the professional version, and you're asking if you can use the extensions like the third-party plugin extension onto Artist to get a great mix. I think that's how I understand your question. And the answer to your question is yes. The difference between the professional version of Studio One and the artist version of Studio One are really just a couple of things, but they're large things. The first and foremost that pertains to your question is you can't use third-party plugins with the artist version. You have to do one of two things. You either have to go out to presonus.com and download the patch or the add-on. They have a VST third-party plugin add-on patch, if you will, or plugin, if you will, to the artist version that allow you to use third-party plugins. You can do that, and I believe that's somewhere around $70, $80 US as of the recording of this video. That will allow you to use your Waves plugins or any other third-party plugins. If you want to jump up to the professional version, you're not only going to get the advantage of being able to already use third-party plugins in VST, but you're also going to have the mastering section to Studio One, the project page, which you don't get with the artist version. You're going to get more sound samples and more libraries, sound libraries as well. And there's other features. Go out to the presonus.com website. They have a list of features comparing both programs, but those are the two main ones. So that's why if you're really going to use third-party plugins and you want to master your project, you want to go with the professional version, or you can just upgrade the artist version, as I said. The second part of your question is, can you get, it sounds like you're asking me, can you get a great mix just using just your Waves plugins or just stock plugins? You're having a difficult time getting that finished sound. the simple answer to your question is yes, you can get a great mix using your stock plugins or using your Waves bundle that you have once you get that extension for Studio One Artist. If you know how to use EQ and compression, you can absolutely get a great mix. Now, if you're looking for more of a canned sound, if I take that meaning you're looking for something that sounds a little bit more commercial, things like you hear on the radio, well, that's where you start getting into more of the third-party plugins and more of the analog style plugin emulations like the 1176s, the LA2As, things from Slate Digital, analog plugin emulations from Waves, Universal Audio. That is going to give you more of that sound once you know how to use the basic fundamentals of compression, EQ, and understand how to use those plugins in the most effective way. That's what's going to give you that sound. If you're looking for that sound, that is why we use those kinds of plugins. However, if you don't understand the basics of EQ and compression, and you don't understand how to get a great mix with your stock plugins, then moving to those plugin emulations and just throwing them on your mix and just thinking it's magically going to make your mix sound great, obviously that's not the case. You have to understand how to use the tools first. And I talk about a lot about this on my YouTube channel. I have lots of products in my Made Easy product line to help you with things like EQ and compression. Go out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and check that out. Under the training courses page, you'll see all the different courses I have to offer. And that's what I would recommend first, is that you really get a good handle on EQ and compression. Get good mixes with your stock plugins, and if you're looking for that little extra, the more canned sound, if you say, then you want to start looking at other plugins like from Slate Digital and from Waves and from Universal Audio, and that'll help. So I hope that answers your question somewhat. I know it's kind of a long-winded answer. Again, if you want to be a little bit more specific, email me again, and we could talk about something very specific, and I can try to help you. So I hope that helps. So that's it for this episode of Questions and Coffee with David. Again, if you want one of your questions answered in an upcoming episode, email me at info@homerecordingmadeeasy.com. That's info@homerecordingmadeeasy.com, and I'll be sure to answer your question as best as I can in an upcoming episode. And once again, head out to learningtomix.com if you want more high-level premium training. It's a great website. I'm working with Mix Better Now's Pete Woj, and we have an awesome website, a growing community of like-minded individuals that want mixing training, and that's something that I urge you to go check out, learningtomix.com. And then last but not least, go back to homerecordingmadeeasy.com for all your other training needs around recording, mixing, and mastering, so you can make better music in your home studio. And so until the next video, this has been David with Home Recording Made Easy and learningtomix.com, and I will speak to you guys all soon. Take care.